You unlock your phone to check one notification. 3 hours later, you're still scrolling through content you don't even care about. You tell yourself you'll stop, but you can't. This isn't a lack of willpower. This isn't laziness. Your brain is being manipulated by some of the most sophisticated psychological tactics ever designed. Today, we're breaking down the exact brain science that makes scrolling so addictive, and why even knowing about it might not be enough to stop you. Let's start with dopamine. You've probably heard that social media gives you dopamine hits. But here's what most people get wrong. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical. It's the anticipation chemical. Your brain doesn't release dopamine when you find something good. It releases dopamine when you might find something good. That's a critical difference. Think about it. When you open Instagram or TikTok, you don't know what you'll see next. Will it be funny, shocking, boring? Your brain doesn't know, and that uncertainty triggers a dopamine release. This is the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. You're not playing because you're winning. You're playing because you might win. Every scroll is a pull of the lever. And here's the cruel part. The dopamine hit is strongest right before you see the content, not after. So you keep scrolling, chasing that feeling of anticipation, never quite satisfied. Your brain has been turned into a slot machine, and you're both the player and the prize. Now let's talk about why unpredictability is so powerful. It's called variable ratio reinforcement, and it's the most addictive reward system known to psychology. Here's how it works. If you got a reward every single time you scrolled, you'd actually get bored pretty quickly. Predictable rewards lose their power. But if you get rewarded randomly, sometimes yes, sometimes no, your brain becomes obsessed. Social media platforms engineer this perfectly. Sometimes the next post is hilarious. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it's shocking. Sometimes it's just okay. You never know. This randomness keeps your brain engaged far longer than consistent rewards ever could. It's why you can't just check your phone. There's always a chance the next scroll will be the good one. Studies show that variable rewards activate the same brain regions as gambling addiction. Tech companies know this. They A/B test everything to maximize this exact response. The feed isn't random, it's carefully randomized. Every platform uses algorithms to show you just enough good content to keep you hooked, mixed with enough average content to keep you searching. You're not weak for scrolling. You're up against billion-dollar companies with teams of psychologists designing systems specifically to exploit this vulnerability in your brain. Here's a question. When was the last time you reached the end of Instagram, or TikTok, or Twitter? You haven't. Because there is no end. This is called infinite scroll, and it was deliberately designed to remove stopping cues. Let me explain. Your brain uses natural endpoints to know when to stop an activity. When you finish a book, you close it. When a TV episode ends, you see the credits. But social media has no credits. No final page. No natural conclusion. The content just keeps coming. Forever. Before infinite scroll existed, you had to click next page to see more content. That tiny action, that one extra click, gave your brain a moment to decide, do I want more, or am I done? Most people chose to stop. So platforms removed that choice. Now, the content loads automatically as you scroll. There's no friction, no decision point, no moment to pause and think, wait, why am I still doing this? It's like if a bag of chips automatically refilled itself every time you reached the bottom. You'd keep eating, not because you're hungry, but because there's no signal to stop. Infinite scroll weaponizes your brain's tendency to continue an action until something interrupts it. And nothing ever interrupts it. Let's talk about FOMO, fear of missing out. But this isn't just about feeling left out of parties. It's about an ancient survival mechanism being hijacked. For millions of years, humans survived by staying informed about their tribe. Missing important information could mean missing a threat, missing food, missing social alliances. In evolutionary terms, being out of the loop was dangerous. Your brain still operates on that ancient wiring. When you see a notification, your brain interprets it as potentially important tribal information. It doesn't matter that it's actually just someone liking your photo from 3 days ago. Social media exploits this relentlessly. Red notification badges, unread message counts, you're all caught up, messages. These aren't neutral design choices. They're psychological triggers. The red dot next to your app. That's not just a visual cue. Studies show the color red specifically triggers urgency and anxiety in the human brain. It's the same reason stop signs are red. And here's the insidious part. Even when you know the notification isn't important, the anxiety doesn't go away. Your rational brain knows it's just a like, but your emotional brain is screaming, check it. What if it's important? So you check. And the cycle continues. Because now there's a new notification you might miss. Okay, so you finally put your phone down. You're done scrolling. Except, you're not really done. This is called attention residue, and it's one of the sneakiest parts of the scrolling trap. Here's what happens. When you switch from one task to another, your brain doesn't fully switch. Part of your attention stays stuck on the previous task. That's attention residue. So when you put down your phone and try to work, study, or even just have a conversation, part of your brain is still thinking about what you just saw. That comment thread, that video, that notification you didn't open. Research shows it can take 23 minutes for your brain to fully refocus after a distraction. But most people check their phones every 12 minutes, which means your attention never fully recovers. You're always operating with fractured attention. You're never fully present, and you feel it, that constant mental fog, that sense that you can't concentrate like you used to. But here's where it gets worse. The unfinished feeling actually pulls you back to your phone. Your brain hates incomplete tasks. So even though you're trying to focus on something else, your brain keeps nagging you. Go back. Finish scrolling. Close the loop. Except you can't close the loop, because the scroll is infinite. So you're trapped in a cycle of perpetual incompleteness. Now let's talk about why you scrolling triggers other people to scroll. It's called the social validation loop. Humans are social learners. We look to others to figure out what's normal, what's valuable, what's worth our time. This is usually helpful, but social media weaponizes it. When you post something, you're not just sharing, you're seeking validation. Likes, comments, shares, these are modern social currency, and your brain treats them like real rewards. Studies using brain scans show that getting likes activates the same reward centers as eating chocolate or winning money. Your brain literally can't tell the difference between social validation and survival resources. But here's the trap. You post something, then you compulsively check back to see the response. How many likes? Who commented? What did they say? This checking behavior is intermittent reinforcement again. Sometimes there's a new like, sometimes there isn't. So you keep checking, and while you're checking, you start scrolling. And now you're back in the dopamine loop. Meanwhile, everyone else sees that you posted, so they feel social pressure to engage. They open the app. They start scrolling to find your post. They get trapped too. It's a network effect. Every person scrolling creates more content, which triggers more scrolling, which creates more content. The system feeds itself. You're not just addicted. You're part of the addiction infrastructure. There's one more trick I need to tell you about, the Zeigarnik effect. This is a psychological principle that says your brain remembers unfinished tasks better than completed ones. It's why you can't stop thinking about a TV show that ended on a cliffhanger. Social media uses this ruthlessly. Stories that tease part 2. The only way to relieve that tension is to keep scrolling. Okay, so now you know how deep this goes. So to summarize, you can't stop scrolling because of 7 psychological traps working together. But now you know the game. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. If this video helped you understand your own behavior, share it with someone who's also stuck in the scroll. And let me know in the comments which psychological trap hits you the hardest. Thanks for watching. Now go put your phone down.